On The Fan, things are about to get a little painful, but we cover all topics with our resident rugby league injury analyst at NRL Physio, Brian Seaney. Welcome.
Good to see you.
Ankle fracture dislocation.
Yeah.
We had Jarrell Yao on the program earlier this year in the fold-out chair. It essentially ended his career, yet there have been other more recent cases in the NRL last year. Players come back same season.
Absolutely.
How do you explain all of this?
Yeah, look, an ankle fracture dislocation, it's one of the most severe injuries an NRL player can suffer. Look, Jarrell, unfortunately, the big complication with him was he suffered what we call an open fracture dislocation of the ankle. So the open part is where the bone actually pierces the skin. So it comes out, we see the bloody sock. Everyone remembers the footage, which was quite harrowing at the time, but that brings a significant risk for infection. And Jarrell was, quoted as saying he spent several weeks in a hospital room purely because of the infection that he suffered. And
then last year you've got a situation though with Aidan Guerra at the Newcastle Knights.
Yeah, absolutely. So he was obviously very, very lucky to not have the open part of that fracture occur. So the bone stayed inside the skin. That means everything is contained. So your risk of infection is very, very low. Your chances of returning to play, therefore, much higher.
So Sean Fenson was the same when he suffered that unfortunate injury in the grand final, first minute.
Yeah, absolutely. So he suffered a tibia and fibula fracture. Look, as nasty as that injury was and horrible to see so early in the grand final, always good to see the bone stay in the skin. And I know that sounds quite nasty.
But you're here to tell it like it is. Now, Brian, can you demonstrate for us the intricacies of the fracture dislocation?
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, we have our left foot here.
Right.
So, if we've watched in past seasons, we went over syndesmosis injury. So that occurs when the foot turns to the outside. A very similar mechanism of injury for an ankle fracture dislocation, or the most common mechanism of injury. So the foot turns to the side, and where in a syndesmosis injury we usually have a separation of the tibia and the fibula. What happens in an ankle fracture dislocation is the foot literally comes all the way out of that ankle joint, and we suffer usually a fracture in this fibula bone here. Very nasty.
Well, it's been painful, folks, but we needed to tell the story. Let's hope we're not talking about it too much throughout the course of the year.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming on the show at NRL Physio.
Pleasure.